I am doing a podcast episode today on something that I did 30 minutes ago. Well, actually 7 hours ago, but that's not the point. Today's been a long day. Okay, I am just going to read this post that I created today because I created it in about 5 minutes. I posted it. I got about 5 DMs about it. I got like 9 comments in the first hour about it. And I want to talk about it. And I also went live about it. It literally says, I wasted almost $30,000 this past year on a coaching program that left me feeling lost. I had to rebuild everything from the ground up. My confidence, my brand, my approach, the whole damn business was shaken for months. Woo! I'm not going to actually read the caption. I'm just going to like talk about the caption, but bad investments. Wow. So I could talk about this a lot. And I think like if I had to break it down into numbers, I probably should have like done this before the episode. I believe I'm probably in the good investment category, 150 or 20, 30. I would probably say good investments, I'm a little under 200K. Bad investments, I'm over 50K. And that's a lot of money. As I say those numbers in 2.5 years, that actually makes me want to, I don't even know. But I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of comments about good investments, bad investments. Now, some of you guys are not in business, so you don't understand maybe, and that's probably a good thing, this online world of, oh, like you invest in coaches and support and all this stuff. Like you might have never actually slid into someone DMs who you didn't actually know and say like, hey, I want to work with you. And then like 10 minutes later, pay them $5,000. Like maybe you've never done that. I've done this now 10, 15 different times. But with this specific post, with this specific individual, I want to talk about the biggest mistake I made and maybe some things that you guys can do to avoid bad investments. Because here's the thing. If you are not investing outside of what you got out of your university, your college, whatever you want to call it, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. I have made several investments in my 20s, my 30s now. Oh my God, I'm old. And some of them were like professional. So I have obviously invested in my business. I've had business consultants, mentors, masterminds, like a lot of good stuff there, courses. Oh my God, the courses. I didn't even think about the fucking courses. Anyway, I've made those types of investments. And then I also, in the first big investment I made about a year out of college, I wanted to make myself look better on LinkedIn, which made no sense. And I invested in like a 3-month Core X program with Harvard. Well, I was working 100 hours a week at the time. So doing a Harvard level course was not in the cards. It was like a 3K investment. And I ended up not completing it. And what's crazy is because I was in the middle of it and I hadn't like failed it yet, I put it on my LinkedIn page as like I'm in progress. And I'm pretty sure that's how I got my sales job. Like they hire very professional individuals. And I was, didn't do sales I guess I kind of did in college. But I think the fact that I had that on my resume, they look at a lot of like big universities, private schools, like smart kids. I think that's how I got my job. But anyway, that's a whole other discussion for another day. Investing in yourself outside of school for your business, professionally, mentorship groups for like whatever you want to do. One of my good friends, Casey, was on the other week. She has a group program for moms, like incredible, very valuable experience. She has a lot of moms in there who use that to like elevate themselves and expand themselves. And anyway, I'm so about investing in yourself, but we make bad investments. Here's the deal that I just want to like say up front. How many of you guys have dated someone who was literally like fucking gum on your shoe? Right? Like literally gum on your shoe. But 6 months later, were you on Hinge again looking for, the next gum on your shoe? Yeah, you were, right? Like we can't just negate going after new opportunities and investing ourselves because we had one bad opportunity. Like I'm very much you have to keep dating to find your husband. You have to keep investing sometimes to find that like perfect match. And also what a perfect match to you right now might not be what you need or what will serve you in the future. And I think that's okay. Like I've made investments that I'm like, I probably wouldn't make now in my business, but it doesn't mean it's a bad investment. It just doesn't make sense for me in my state of business. And I've made good investments and bad investments, but I want to talk about this one specifically because the 2 or 3 investments that I've made that I can specifically say were bad. One was a $6,000 investment that didn't make any sense, 6 or 7, somewhere in there. $6,000 investment 2 years ago in my business. And then this one, which is about 30K. So we're going to talk about $36,000 of bad investments that I'm just going to talk about today. Both of those investments actually came from the fact that I hired that person, that coach, because I thought that they had some magical thing that I just did not have yet. And I actually talked about this on Instagram Live on By the Blazer today, in case you want to dig into the archives and find that. Just DM me, I'll gladly send it to you. But we make this big mistake sometimes that hiring a mentor, a coach, a consultant, an advisor, whatever the hell you want to call it, that we're hiring that person because they are going to bring something new to the table. They're going to do something exceptionally rare. They're going to teach us something that, like, oh my God, we could never do on our own. Here's the fucking thing, you guys. My clients do not need me. You do not need a mentor. You do not need a coach. I am literally a coach and a consultant, and I'm telling you, you don't need me. The thing that you need is you need someone who can expand the way you think. And I do believe that mentorship and good coaches and good consultants can do that in a way where it's not that you need them, but they're so fucking valuable to you that being in their world, being in their space, talking with them consistently, getting their input on things, getting their guidance on moves and strategic ideas that you have is so fucking valuable that if you can afford to do so, and all of you guys, I promise you can find someone that you can afford to do this with, you should be in those rooms. And it's not about like being in the world or any of that shit. It's just you experience so much being in coaching programs that I just can't explain the takeaways of that, because you have to like experience it to see it, right? I was talking in an earlier podcast episode about going to the Eras Tour and going to in-person events, right? I don't think people can describe to someone the impact of the Eras Tour unless they were fucking there. Like, you can see it, but if you weren't in that room, you're never going to feel the magic that you had of being there, right? That's why the tickets were fucking expensive, right? You could probably hire a coach for the same amount that you went to the Eras Tour for. So I know you can afford it, but it's the same thing with me. And I think when I made those two investments, I was so determined that like they had information, they had knowledge that was just so mind blowing that I was going to go in and be like, this fixed everything for me. And both of them were like a massive mistake. The first one was someone who's very well known online. She has a big presence. And now I think her programs are like $30,000, $40,000 for the year. It's like insane for the same stuff that I bought for $6,000. But anyway, she markets online. Like, she has this magic formula. And what's really interesting is when I went into her program, it was 6 months. First of all, it was the messiest thing ever. I think she went through a lot of big rebrands, and that's nor here nor there. I'm not like necessarily here to like shit on anyone. It's just like the state of her business at the time. Like, I didn't know how to use it. Was very confusing. Her program was confusing. It was in a system that like made absolutely no sense to me. It was just bad. It was just like confusing, messy, all over the place, like bad. And it was interesting because I had, at the time, was hiring a private mentor long-term a couple months after this, and their trainings were literally the same. Come to find out that this girl was had hired my current coach, and literally just like those, it was all the same shit. It was literally all the exact same shit, the same frameworks, the same stuff. And she didn't teach it in a way that felt fresh to me. I felt like I already had all the information. So now I'm in this program for a very specific purpose. I wanted to scale a membership. She's amazing at scaling memberships because she's all about visibility. And I was not necessarily wanting to be I didn't want to be a visibility person. I didn't want to like focus on numbers and followers and likes. Like, I was like, I want to just convert. I'm like really good at sales. And so I basically worked against my strength in this investment. It's funny because I'm about to say that I did the same thing this summer, but I worked against my strengths in this investment, and it made me feel stupid. And so what's crazy is a month in, I just stopped attending everything. I tried to absorb some of her trainings. I tried to like look through it. She had a couple of things that were helpful. And what I realized in going in that investment is I don't want massive co-coaches, and I don't want like a big team. And I don't think I actually realized that until, funny enough, like 3 months later, I like hired a team and tried to do the co-coach thing. But I realized that like I actually wanted to be in the delivery of my offer. And I didn't talk to this girl once, by the way. Like, there was no calls with her. There was no support from her. Like, I didn't talk to her one time. I was handed a customer service person and whatever. And like, it was fine. But that person didn't really know my business. The other thing that was super frustrating about that investment is I remember, so I hop on a sales call because she does not do any of the sales process of a business, which by the way is fine. She scaled very quickly. That's great. I hop on a sales call with this girl. At the time, she had 2 programs, foundations and her like accelerator scale program, whatever. I'm trying to be generic enough and change some of the wording so you guys can't figure out who I'm talking about, but that's beyond the point. She had like a foundations program and like an accelerator type program, right? And when I applied, I was at like $25,000 a month. And in my opinion, I was ready for an accelerator. I was ready for that. And when I hopped on the sales call, the salesperson, first of all, made no real questions about my business. She like asked 2 questions. And then she's like, great, so you should be in our foundations program. And I don't know if this just hurt my fucking ego, but I was like, I'm sorry, I think we're past foundations. Like I can market, I can sell. And then when I was put into this program, all it taught me was marketing and sales. I'm like, I don't really think this is what I needed. I feel like I needed more structure. I think I needed more systems. I think I needed more delivery support. So again, I was literally put in a program that made absolutely no sense for me. And I think it's because the person doing the sales process didn't really understand what the offer was about, or I don't think understood enough. I think she just checked certain boxes of like, how much money did you make? And no offense, you guys, no program should be about how much money you make. Like in both of my experiences, if you go online, they don't really talk about income at all. Headquarters is not about a certain income range. I have people in that program that are at 30K months, and I have people in that program that literally just came to me with no business and are just starting. And it's about mastering momentum. It's about marketing, sales, and delivery. When those 3 things are simple and cohesive, how much momentum you can build into the business to scale quickly. Well, then DBM is more of an integrated, higher level, expansive experience where it's about momentum and structure. So I could have someone in both programs that are at 5K months or at 30K months or at 50K months. Now, do I think that someone at 50K months would probably prefer a DBM experience? Yeah, they probably have more complexities at that level of business. Do I think someone a little bit newer in business might be a little bit better for headquarters? Sure. But for the most part, neither one of those programs have anything to do with income, because income does not determine what someone needs. It's where they're at in business and what changes are happening in their business that determines what someone needs. So I made that mistake. I went into a foundations program when I was already at 20K months. I also, by the way, scaled my business at that point to about 400K in a year. I would not call that foundations, but who knows? So I made that investment. About a month in, I stopped going. I felt like it was a waste of money and waste of time. And I just kind of had the ick for that individual and just like the way that they did things. It felt very messy and confusing. And I definitely felt like a number, which I understand in group programs that you are not going to be like their only priority. Had no issue with that. I didn't even have an issue with the fact it was a group program. I literally was fine with that. I didn't need a lot of like customized guidance or anything else. But that one was pretty fucking horrible. And since then, when I see content from that person who's now crushing it and doing amazing, it reminds me that they don't really have a secret formula. They just market that they do. And it's kind of now given me the ick to like, I don't want to market to someone that they need me in order to be successful. So I actually market against that person, and it's been really well for our business. So that's great. So that was the first one. But I want to talk about the one this summer because it was actually the same thing. I've been working with, at this time, a private mentor for about a year. But you guys, when I say I wanted a mastermind so bad, I wanted a mastermind so bad. I had worked with a coach in a mastermind a year and a half ago. Definitely thought about going back to that. But I actually want to do something completely different for my business. I wanted to hire someone that I felt like really was scaling very simply. And my mastermind mentor before is always launching stuff, always doing new things. Her business isn't necessarily like what I want to build for myself. So I saw this coach, and the coach has a pretty big audience. She has a sales team. She has built one offer to $1 million, which was like a big part of our business. So I was like, I want 2 offers that are at $1 million each, like very simple business. And I remember like not really having her on my radar very much, but as a driver buyer, like I make decisions very quickly. And it was February, and I just remember her talking about like this new mastermind that she was having. She only took on X amount of clients. And I just remember DMing them and applying, and I was like, hey, I'm kind of interested in this. And I hopped on a sales call with the girl. Like she DM'd me directly. She's like, of course she has a sales team, DM'd me directly and said like, hey, I'd love to hop on a call with you. Great. And I knew on the call that she was selling me, like there was no like confusion in that. But the thing that I thought was really interesting is she's like, yep, my mastermind is $25,000. I was like, fantastic. Like that's definitely more expensive than like some of my other investments. I'm already paying $50K a year or $50K every 6 months to a coach. So I'm about to invest $75,000 for a 6-month period, which is a lot of money. And the thing is that she's like, it's going to be a mastermind. It's going to be super intentional. Well, if it's a mastermind, I don't really understand how it can be intentional when you don't have any Slack channel minus one thread. Like, it wasn't like a Slack channel or a Slack workspace. It was a channel. So like, you can't really connect with her one-on-one, which, by the way, I'm not like I don't like message people a lot. Like, I'm like one of those dream clients that like you don't hear from very often. Like, I'm one of those. But it's like, that's the case. Then on top of that, we meet once a month as a group, and you meet once a month with her. So I'm like, okay, so I'm paying you $5,000 a month for an hour of your time, which again, fine, no big deal, whatever. But the group was like non-existent, and it just like, I didn't even know any of these people. So we hop on, we have the kickoff call, we talk through some stuff. She gives me this roadmap. The roadmap is literally copying and pasting her business. So implementing a sales team, having this funnel, changing my offer, like literally nothing to do with what I want for my business, just copy and paste her business. And I remember at first even telling Lexi, like, I think I'm excited. This is cool, like learning some stuff. But I think by like month 2, I realized that I was like down bad. Like, I was struggling. Like, I felt super disconnected. I was like in awe of what she created and thinking, I needed to do X, Y, and Z. And especially because I had a private mentor who was telling me the opposite, I was just so confused. I felt so lost. And it was frustrating because like Slack was really weird as well. I think what she did is she had her like 6K, 8K kind of group experience that was her signature offer. I think she had a couple of those people to make it feel bigger, like add them into the mastermind, but they weren't in the mastermind. So we had this weird ass Slack channel. I didn't know anyone in it. The mastermind calls were not really mastermind calls. They were like one-on-one, like rotation based, which I like mastermind calls, you guys. Like, I want to collaborate with people. I want people to give me feedback. Like, I want the mastermind calls. So they were mastermind calls. And then on the one-on-one calls, which were like 40 minutes or something, she basically was like, how'd last month go? Here's what your priorities are this month. Here's the checklist. And I'm like, girl, I'm making like almost 6 figures a month. I don't need a checklist. I need to like talk through strategy and this. And I felt like she was always like, so now let's hire a sales team. Let's do this. I'm like, I don't want a sales team. So it really felt just not accustomed to me at all. And so I'm going through this process. By about halfway through, I realized this was probably a really bad investment. I go to the group calls. I try to absorb some of the training she has because like, I'm like, this is really interesting. And then we get to July. And to remind you, I'm paying $5,000 a month to her and $6,000 a month to another mentor. Like, I don't know if you can do the math on that, but that's over 5 figures of cash going out in the business. And I remember in July, I was like, great, last payment went through last month. We're done with this. I'm going to go to my last call with her. We're going to wrap up. Like, everything's great. And I actually ended up moving money out of her business account the end of the month because her payments were like the last, I don't remember when they were, maybe the first of the month. I'm not really sure. I ended up moving money out of our business account to move it somewhere or pay for something. I don't remember what the point was, but our business account was probably at like $3,000 or $4,000, like lowest that it usually is. I usually keep like, a certain amount in there wherever. Anyway, doesn't matter. In the checking account that it came out of. I remember I got an attempt of payment for a 6th payment, like a 6th payment from her. And I remember thinking, she said this was $25,000. Why am I getting charged for another $5,000? I was like, maybe it's a wrong sequence. So I DM her pretty much immediately. And I said, hey, like, I think there's a mistake. And she goes, no, if you're doing a payment plan, it's 6 payments of $5,000. So I think, okay, hold up. So your 6-month mastermind where I talk to you 40 minutes a month is $5,000 a month, which, by the way, you guys, is quite a lot for a mastermind. I'm not saying that it's not worth it. I'm not saying that that's not fair, whatever. That's just what it was. And you're going to charge $5,000 interest if we do a payment plan. Now, again, this is not a 3K program where it's like, oh, you do a payment plan, you charge it, whatever. This is a $25,000 program. Yes, we do a lot of cash, but we're very conscious of cash flow. Most of my clients do longer payment plans. I don't make them pay a 6-month payment. Most of my clients are an 8-month, no big deal for a 6-month program. And I'm like, are you actually out of your fucking mind? Like, first of all, you definitely did not tell me on the sales call. And I stand by that. She would not send me the sales call where I could confirm that because I was going to pay it. I was going to honor what I told her. And I had to give her feedback at that time of, I'm like, I don't really feel like this has been at all what I asked for. I asked for a mastermind. I don't know a single person in the group. We don't do anything collaborative. Every call too was like, let me come on and train about something I'm doing in my business, which again is all very insightful. I'm not saying that this program is jack shit. I'm not saying that it's horrible. I'm not saying that you might invest in the same thing and be like, this was amazing, but it was super disappointing. And as someone who runs a mastermind, by the way, at that time, DBM was, I don't know, $8,000 for 6 months. So in comparison, my clients get unlimited Slack access. They get unlimited project reviews. We didn't get any project reviews, no feedback, no nothing. There's a Slack channel, aka like people can actually ask questions and contribute. Whereas like with hers, it was like one little channel. So you can't like really have like different channels for different stuff. It just felt very like you get this little touch, you get touch gold because you get access to me energy. The calls are every week in my mastermind. And again, not to say apples to apples. Masterminds and investments are so different, but it made me realize like how much I over deliver for my clients. And I'm like, this feels like you should be kissing the floor that I walk on, that you get this access to me. And what's actually wild is her 6 month or 4 month or whatever it was group program, I actually think is probably a great investment. It's probably around 6 or 7K right now. You get a direct one-on-one Slack access to a coach for 3 months. Don't I want access to her? Sure. But that, you get a group Slack and you get all these additional elements like calls and other things. That to me would have been a better investment than our $25,000 low touch point, kiss the ground that I walk on energy mastermind. So I just want to remind you guys that sometimes people think that bigger investments are actually better. I had a girl that was in a $12,000 mastermind and she was like, I'm kind of nervous about working with you. So she went into headquarters, which is a little bit less touch point. She goes, what you do in headquarters for like $500 a month is literally what I just paid $3,000 a month for in another offer. So I want to remind you guys that a 25K investment here versus a 25K investment here, not always the same. A mastermind here, what a mastermind is here, is not the same. And it really taught me a lot about like what selling intentionality is, what it looks like. And again, I'm out obviously now almost $40,000 between those two investments over the course of a year and a half. But it reminded me like what I want my clients to say about me. And someone said something really wise the other day, and I genuinely cannot remember who said this, but they told me that if I were to throw all of my clients in a room together and they all could just talk about me, would I be proud of what that room says? Would I be happy with what they say? And I literally looked at this person and I said, yeah, I really would. Our retention's up. I'm good with my clients. Even if I get kind of like some feedback or, hey, I'm struggling with this. I had a client today who was like, hey, I'm kind of struggling with like our group calls and I don't necessarily want to attend all of them. Is that okay? I was like, yeah, you might be like really busy right now in your season. Slack might be like where you want to get support and that's great. Like, I want clients to feel safe and I want to create an environment where they're like, I know that Ashley is always going to do what's best for me and she's not going to limit me to this sliver of a Slack channel that I can tap into when I have questions. Like, that's just like not what I'm about. And it doesn't mean that other people can't be wildly successful at what they do. But as someone who is in that program and has actually connected now with someone who is in that and saying it was a really bad experience for her too, it just reminds me that like not all things are created equal and I need to go into every investment analyzing it as best as I can from their marketing, from who they are, from the type of person that I perceive them to be, but then also trusting that I'm going to make bad investments that are going to lead me to the best ones ever that are going to change my business. And I'm happy looking back that I made those investments in some ways because it's made me more aware. It's aligned my values with the way that I deliver in my own programs. And it's honestly just fucking part of the process. So I wanted to share a little bit of that insight. It's never fun. It sucks. I'd love to have that $30,000 back. Stock market's been doing really well. So I probably would make that 5 times back right now. But also like that's just part of the process. And I had someone message me today because I was talking about this post that I created. And she goes, Ashley, I've invested probably $30,000 with other mentors. This $3,000 investment has literally changed my life. Being in headquarters is the best thing I've ever done. She's only 3 weeks in. And she goes, I want you to know, like, I don't know anyone that could ever make a post about you like that. And I don't know, like, will that ever happen? Sure. Will I upset someone? Sure. Will someone not like working with me? I'm sure. But it felt really good to be reminded that when you are leading with integrity in what you say in your marketing, what you do in your delivery, how you sell, when they all feel like the same person, the same experience, like that has to feel good. It doesn't eliminate you from missed payments, clients leaving you, clients hating you. But it does feel good to be someone who I can say like, yeah, if my clients were all in a room together, I'm pretty sure 99% of them would be really, really happy with the money that they've spent with me, with the investments that they've had. And it's sad when that's not the case, but it's part of the process. So I would love to know. I posted this. I probably, when this episode will come out, I'll share this to the Buy the Blazer Instagram because I think this is an important discussion to have. I'd love to know like what you guys are struggling with in hiring. A couple tips that I do have for you when it comes to hiring a good mentor. If you are on the lookout, obviously hit me up. I'm your girl. Just kidding. But when it comes to that is one thing that we neglect a lot is, are they building a business that you would be proud to have for yourself? It does not mean that if you are a web designer that you would hire a web designer specific mentor, like per se. But do you like that they talk about simple business? Do you like that they don't have a large following? Do you like that they don't work on Mondays? Like the standards and the values that business coach or supportive individual, do you like that? Does that feel good for you? When I hired my current mentor, it's because she had the product suite that felt really good. I was like, I would love that offer suite. Like that's what I want to build for myself. Now I built something different than that, but being around her and seeing her delivery method and her capacity was eye-opening to me. So like, that's why I invested with her specifically. I was like, I want her product suite. So that's why I hired her. Also, she teaches on real business, not like online Instagram business, like posting pink, obnoxious. By the way, there's nothing wrong with that. I have a lot of clients that do that, but I didn't want the like pink in your face, I'm the best mentor because content. Like I liked the simple content. I liked the non-invasive confidence that she conveyed in her messaging. Like I loved that. So that's why I hired her. Does this person make you feel good? And then also in the sales process, do they actually know you? Are they asking questions that make you feel seen and heard? Or are they just shooting you I can help you, I can help you, I can help you energy? Because I'm going to tell you right now, no one online has a magic secret formula that you don't have. Can some mentors and guidance have like their win, right? Like I come from a very sales centric place. So if you hire me, like if you want to be a master of sales, if you want to be incredibly persuasive, like, yeah, I'm probably going to be a good mentor for you. But if you don't like that, you probably don't want to hire me, right? So does this person make you feel good? Do they understand you? And when you watch their marketing, do they make you feel inspired and elevated, or do they make you feel like you have to be failing and you are failing if you are not like literally in their world, right? So those are some things I would say. I would also be very intentional about retention. Now, this is obviously something that makes us look very good, but I know many people that I could name on the top of my head that they have $50,000, $60,000 sales month and their retention is under 10%, which tells you that they're marketing, that they're getting all these clients, but they don't know how to keep them. So their program cannot be that good, because if you are a 7-figure business coach and you are not having like the 40, 50, 60, 70% retention, that is an issue. Like your whole thing should be keeping clients with you, depth with clients. Like there's always new problems in business. So if people are not wanting to stay with you to get those problems solved, you probably didn't solve them very well in the beginning stages of working with them. So retention is something I would ask. I would ask your business coach, like, what's your retention? Because if they can't say a specific amount, like that's concerning. Like that's our number one priority as a business, is retaining our clients. So those are some things I would say, questions to ask. If you obviously know anyone who's worked with them, that's incredible. But like ask them what their framework is. Ask them, when things go wrong, like when I struggle with this, what does support look like? Like ask good questions. It's not necessarily how many calls you get or how much time you get. Like those are not the things that are going to define your happiness in the program. It's the way that someone makes you feel and the way that they help you solve problems that are like the differentiators. So I'm happy to discuss this with anyone if you have questions. Obviously, as a business mentor, I'm biased in the way that we do things. But I've also had 2 people DM me this week that were just not good fits, and I've sent them elsewhere, and I have no issue sending someone to someone else that's going to be a better fit if I'm not that person. And I think that's really important too, that you have someone that's willing to say, hey, I would love to work with you, but I'm not going to get you the results you want. This person will. I hope that you check them out because I think that they'd be perfect for you. So I hope this episode is helpful. I don't want to like shame anyone. I'm not here to like shit talk someone. I just want to share like my experience because I think it's something that a lot of you guys can relate to. And I hope that I can hopefully prevent you guys from having negative experiences in the future. So let me know if you guys like this episode. when it comes out, I'll share it to the Buy the Blazer Instagram, and I'll share that post if you guys want to go back and read it. But I hope that this brings awareness on something that I think is just part of the process, but also can be prevented if you know what questions to ask and how to think through making decisions that are coming from a place of empowerment, not of like loss and scarcity and just feeling heaviness. So I hope this is helpful. I'll see you guys next week.